Notice Tonight is brought to you by Ayusundra Super Speciality Hospital.
Hello and welcome to Notice Tonight, the show that decodes the region. I am Wasbir Hussain. After maneuvering various roadblocks, the exercise to come up with a citizens list in Assam in the form of an updated National Register of Citizens is at an advanced stage and is said to be nearing completion. The question now is simple. Does the publication of the NRC have the potential to put an end to the problem of illegal migration in Assam? There are several sub-questions as well. What can the government do to those whose names do not appear in the NRC finally? Yes, some of them will move the courts or the tribunals, and one will have to wait for verdicts on such cases. But what can the authorities possibly do to those who fail to make the cut? Detention centers are just not there. Deportation without an agreement with Bangladesh, or for that matter the country of origin, is impossible. What then? That is the big question. Will the first step be disenfranchising them and then issuing them something like work permits, as many have been suggesting over the years? But perhaps the bigger question is, can the authorities stop fresh infiltration? Well, to discuss these and more, I have with me tonight Assam BJP spokesman Swapnanil Barua, Congress leader Dwijen Sharma, chairman of the Assam Public Works, an organization that is closely involved in the NRC process, Mr. Abhijit Sharma, advocate Syed Burhanur Rahman, Dr. Prasenjit Biswas, professor at Nehu, joining me from Shillong, and Abhinav Barbara, a political commentator. Gentlemen, welcome to Northeast Tonight. The big question is, my first question goes to Abhijit Sharma. You have been closely associated both in the legal process as far as the NRC is concerned. You have also moved affidavits and counter affidavits. My question is simple. Do you think that once the NRC exercise is complete, do you think the NRC has the potential to bring an end to the illegal migration issue in Assam that we have been dealing with for the last 35 years or more?
Thank you. Actually, our first petition was on 20th July 2009. And today, I think it will be 10 years. Today is 10 years. In our petition, we have written that 41 lakhs illegal voters are there in 2006 voter list, and we requested Supreme Court to prepare a fresh voter list where not a single illegal immigrant's names are there and where Indians can vote the Indians. But later on, then central government from Congress, they suggested Supreme Court that let me complete it.
Come to the direct question,
Let's
please.
complete the NRC. Now, first we'll complete the NRC, then we'll go to the voter list. Now, the question is, if NRC is updated or NRC is completed, but then also whatever the number comes out, their names are already in the voter list. So, they can still vote.
So, you are saying that even if those people whose names do not find a place in the final NRC, even those people can vote?
They can vote. But then, after that, you see, first of all, the number what comes out, there is a provision they can go to tribunals.
Okay, we'll go into that, but first of all, I want to get a sense from the panelists. My question is direct. Prasenjit Biswas, my question is direct. I'm asking a very, very simple question. Can the NRC, as and when it is finally published, can it end the problem of illegal migration or the issue of illegal migration? Can it end? Is the discourse going to end then?
No, it seems to be something like an open and shut case. Open in the sense that many genuine Indian citizens are not finding their names in the NRC. Many of them have due documents. With due diligence, one can see that they are genuine Indian citizens, yet they are in the detention camps, yet their names are tagged with a D voter. Now, unless we really resolve this issue of not turning genuine Indian citizens into illegal immigrants, the issue remains open. The question is also shut because if NRC directly leads to exclusion from voters list, for which there is no legal provision as yet. No law says that if the name is not there in NRC, they lose their citizenship rights, that is right to participate in electioneering process. Therefore, there is a legal aporia here between NRC and the citizenship rights. There is no direct consequence, and therefore it's a kind of an half and half kind of a situation where we need certain other kinds of political intervention.
Very important point made by the first two panelists. I'll come to my political panelists slightly later. Let me go to the lawyer here on my panel, Syed Burhanur Rahman. Burhanur, my first question has been very simple as you have heard it. Can the NRC end the issue of illegal migration in Assam? Now the two panelists, as you have heard, they have raised a very interesting question. Abhijit Sharma said, and this has been more or less corroborated by Dr. Prasenjit Biswas from Shillong, they're saying that even if you don't have your name in the NRC, that may not necessarily debar you from your nationality, and therefore you can still have your voting rights. So my first question, as well as the explanation to the second dilemma.
Thank you. As far as this updation of this NRC process is going on, I would like to say only a few things on this, because this NRC updation process, in my understanding, is that it's like a half-traveled path. We have the half-traveled path. Why I am saying this? Yes. Why I am saying this is because of the fact that it cannot be a full travel path, in the sense that straight away you cannot throw a person out of the country only because of this NRC updation process. There are so many ifs and buts involved. There are so many things involved in the whole process, because as my co-panelist Mr. Sharma is already, and in fact you have already suggested that deportation is also not possible because of various understanding which is not there with the India and Bangladesh. The process has not started for the deportation. So without this process, proper process and concrete process, how can you even think that these people can be thrown away? So that is not possible as far as that part is concerned. But at least we will be able to identify broadly a category of people who are lagged with a particular set of documents, because of which they are excluded. That part is there.
Now, is it correct to assume that what Mr. Abhijit Sharma has just said, that even if those people whose names are not there in the NRC, will they be also able to vote?
As far as voting right is concerned, that is something which has no correlation with the NRC process as of now.
So, for the sake of my viewers, from personal understanding as well, Burhanur, if your name continues to be in the voters list, if your name is still in the voters list, but it is not in the NRC, but do you think that you'll be able to vote?
As of now, that's the position. But what I'm saying is that as of now, why I'm saying as of now, because there are instances where a person's name may still be there in the voting list, but his name is excluded in the NRC. So with that piece of document, he can still vote. But government can correlate with the data and then exclude their name. That is a process that they have to undertake after
excluding their names will be then after the judgment of the tribunal, High Court and the Supreme Court.
The cases have to be disposed of. The cases will have to be disposed of.
It's a 10 to 15 years it will take.
So that is a very unique situation, Abhinav Barbara. I'm coming to the political panelist immediately right now after Abhinav's comment. So that means there is a whole lot of lacuna, if I may use the word, or perhaps I'm not correct in using the word lacuna. Let me put it safe word. That means there is a lot of work to do for the authorities. Abhinav.
Precisely. I think what is really condemnable is that the state has undertaken a mammoth exercise without even having a proper plan for addressing the consequences and the fallout of this large bureaucratic process. And if you see, the state has got sufficient time while carrying out this entire process, and now when we are at the end of this entire process,
all these things are coming out.
We are left with a dilemma as to what would be the fate of those citizens. And at the same time, I would also like to bring in another aspect of this is that I see that there is a lack of political seriousness with regard to the major political parties, which is also one of the major impediments for addressing the foreigners issue. Today, the Solicitor General is saying that Assam might become the refugee capital of the world, but at the same time, the CAB proposes to do precisely that. So CAB is a legislative device which can completely undermine the gains that we get out of the NRC. On the other hand, we have the former Chief Minister Torun Gogoi, who on one hand is claiming credit for initiating the NRC process, and at the other end, he is also saying that every individual whose name is there in the 2019 voter list should also be made part of the NRC. So such paradoxical comments or statements by political parties can easily undermine the gains of the NRC.
Swapnanil Barua, you have got a lot to answer. In fact, what Avinav is saying and the other panelists are basically saying there is a lot of lacuna, lot of dilemma for the authorities now. So this process started in 2015. That was when the groundwork was prepared. And you will say that, oh, that was the time of the Congress, not my government. Now, the point is that is immaterial now. So, do you admit that there is still a lot of doubts, there is still a lot of ground to be covered? It's not the end of the road actually, because we are nowhere near getting an end to this solution or getting an end to this problem called illegal migration.
I think the only simile I can now take is like the admission process. It happens, you know, you have got a result and then you've got a certain percentage and you know that you might get into this college, that college, that college, but it all depends on things. Issues will develop as things progress. Now, one thing is definite that with the publication of the NRC, the identity of the citizens have been established and there are certain people who are non-citizens. So the question of now, as has been raised, is the question of whether they'll be allowed to vote or not to vote, or whether all of them will be detained. But that the government has already formulated plans. It is decided that only people with criminal antecedents or people whom they suspect can be mischief mongers will be put in, and the slightly older people will be left out of the detention camps. Certain plans are already afoot. It is not that the government is not prepared about the
so you are saying that he's saying that the BJP spokesperson is saying that government has a plan. But my question is, what is the capacity of the detention centers? Is it a solution and so on, where because the Supreme Court itself has said that you cannot put someone under detention for more than 3 years or 5 years, I forget the exact
3 years.
3 years. So that is what the Supreme Court, the apex court, which is monitoring this whole big exercise, is itself observed that you cannot put a person in a detention center for more than 3 years. And now here we have got certain cases of people with mistaken identity being already kept for 3 years. They have come out thanks to the intervention of the court, prodded perhaps by the media coverage of their plight. That's a different issue. I'll not go into that. Duzen Sharma, now what is going on? Because this whole NRC process, as Torun Gogoi has already, your leader has already taken credit, saying that this NRC process was started during his tenure, that is during your Congress government's tenure. But that is a different story. We are not bothered about that now. But what do you think? Lot of grounds to be covered because there are a lot of possibilities, lot of ambiguity. Now, as our panelists have said that, you know, very rightly, even if the person's name is not in the NRC, if it continues to be in the voters list, that person can file, that person can continue to keep voting until his or her case is disposed of, which, as Abhijit Sharma very rightly says, can take anything, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. What's going on?
Yes.
Duzen Sharma.
Yes. Now, you see, illegal migrants issue is a very long pending issue in Assam. And people of Assam think that one NRC, correct and perfect NRC, can solve that problem. It is related with the Assam Accord, you see.
Yeah.
Assam Accord has a clause that 1971, 23rd March, that is the cutoff date for illegal migrants. So, you cannot continue all the time. You have to have a basis. The Assam Accord is the basis for NRC. That Congress stand for it. So, we are of the opinion, Congress party is of the opinion that we must have a correct and perfect.
So, no, what are you trying to say? I just want to clarify, because you are saying Assam Accord should be the basis for the NRC. So, you mean to say that 1951 is not the right thing to
No,
do?
that is
and
also basis.
1971 should be done?
This is
Are you saying
Assam
that?
Accord
No.
is part of this NRC because that is a
No, no,
cut of
my
that.
question was different. Let us not
1951 is a very important
Yes.
document.
Okay.
1951,
My question has been direct. My question is, what do you have to say on this whole ambiguity that even after
No, I want to say that
What should the government do according to you?
any Indian, any indigenous Assamese, any Indian people should be included in the NRC, and for that process there must be inquiry, there must be examination.
But Prosenjit Biswas,
No,
there is nobody,
let me finish this
nobody
sentence.
can.
Let me finish this sentence. But for that, those people whose names are not in the NRC at the moment, they must be given sufficient opportunity to prove that they are Indian.
Oh, I think sufficient opportunity has already been given. I think even now, after the final list, after even now they are being given opportunities.
There are many people who are
giving
having valid documents. They are not included.
No, there may be cases. It's a big exercise. There may be such cases.
Those
Nobody can deny.
Those cases must be examined.
It is not an. Now, Prosenjit Biswas, there is no point in reinforcing this argument that genuine Indian citizens should not be left out. We all want that. We all know that.
Yes.
My question is, Prosenjit, suppose those genuine illegal migrants whose names are left out of the NRC, but who continues to have their names in the voters list, how do you resolve this issue? There could be actual illegal migrants who are voting. Of course, there are, if illegal Indian citizens may be left out, genuine citizens also may be included inadvertently. That is what the Supreme Court has also observed. Now the question is, what do you do with this voters list? Are you going to wait for the court to dispose of these cases in the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? What is your take on this, Prosenjit?
The question of illegal immigration and illegal immigrant is also a matter of perception. It's a perception war. Certain people are deemed to be illegal immigrants.
But can you dismiss it just simply like, no, Prosenjit, let me intervene. My question is it as simple as you tend to make it? Do you say that it's only a matter of perception? Are you saying that there are not a single illegal migrant in Assam?
Yeah, the point is that there is a racial, ethnic, cultural categorization of illegal immigrants. Now, unless that is turned into a legal category, legally OI and NOI, original inhabitant and non-original inhabitant, was a big divisive kind of a strategy or a legal policy that was deployed in citizenship rules of 2003. Now, you see, this has a bad consequence. The consequence is that many genuine Indian citizens are perceived to be illegal immigrants. Now, if we keep it aside and look at the Representation of People's Act of 1951, we know that people who are born in this country can be citizens of India and can be voters. Therefore, there is no anomaly. Even if people are left out of NRC because of some documentary anomalies, their citizenship rights cannot be taken away.
Okay, but I'm coming to you, Burhan, but Abhijit Sharma, how are you dealing with this, your organization? Are you trying to deal with this issue legally? Are you moving any affidavit in the Supreme Court, or have you already done so? What is the position?
Already in our affidavit, we have clearly written that all those who are detected and as a foreigner, first of all, we have requested to make them stateless and give them job cards.
Okay, this is what I said. Yeah. Stateless means disenfranchise them and give them work permits.
In our petition only in 2009 we have submitted an end. Okay. And secondly, now we are planning, a serious problem is coming out now. According to the birth control problem is there. Suppose these illegal immigrants who were detected and they went to tribunal, then High Court, then again Supreme Court, they are going, it will take another 10 to 15 years, but their birth problem is there.
No, I mean, you mean to say that they will multiply?
They will multiply.
They will get married. It's a normal process.
Married, yeah. So
normal
again,
process.
So again, by the 15th of August, between 15th of August, we are planning to move Supreme Court for another new fresh case, and the PIL for that all those who have 2 children. The 3rd children, if comes, then they should be the stateless citizens. Means we want to put a block in the population.
So
this will be this case will be for all India.
So the breaking news is that the Assam Public Works is going to move a fresh PIL in the Supreme Court.
We don't know the court may accept it or may not accept it.
But you are moving. I'm only saying that you are moving.
So
the breaking news at this point is that the Assam Public Works, which had been closely involved in the NRC issue, is moving a fresh petition, PIL, in the Supreme Court, trying to seek an order or a directive preventing more than 3 children to this category of people more than two children to this category of people who do not find their names in the NRC.
Let me clear it. Let me not
for the
whole everyone, for the whole country we are saying. Hindu, Muslim, Christian, everyone.
This is a general PI.
Let's try.
Let's
try. Supreme Court will decide.
Yes, Burhan.
We can go.
Burhan.
As far as my understanding goes, that is
Can it be done?
not possible because that is under Article 21, right to life.
Let's try. We can move.
There are certain parameters that a person has to go within that limit. But if you are trying to restrict a number of children of a particular citizen of country,
if China can do, why can't we?
That is
Chinese
not a democratic
communist autocratic regime.
Example. I'm giving an
The
example.
But I think there is a moral problem with the state intervening in the personal space in this way and to this extent, right?
That is absolutely not possible.
Exactly.
Because we have right to marriage. That is a fundamental right under Article 21. Similarly, right to have the number of children is something which is a kind of which come within this ambit of Article 21 right to life. That cannot be.
Central government is very serious in this issue.
That you will go to the emergency era.
Exactly. You cannot have the state interfere in the personal space to this extent.
Let me clear. Everyone has the right to move court.
He is only saying that he is moving the court.
I'm moving the court. Court may accept.
But I think my panelists are also not questioning. No. Let me clarify. Vijit Sharma is saying that APW is moving this petition, and our panelists are not challenging him. Panelists are challenging basically whether this can be
that will be decided in court.
Acceptable to the court or not.
Yes,
we also know.
But again, not for these illegal immigrants. We are saying for the whole country.
Yeah, you are saying for the whole country. That is the clarification, not for two-child norm. That is what APW basically wants, and that may or may not be possible. That is what Burhan, the lawyer on my panel, as well as Abhinav is arguing. But Dujan Sharma, you have been a lawmaker. How easy or difficult it will be for a government to restrict or interfere in somebody's personal family life and restrict the number of children?
Mr. Abhijit Sharma has referred the government is very serious, and I understand he is representing government also.
Through media reports, we are saying. Through media reports, we
I have to
government
take,
is serious in this issue.
Let me speak, Mr. Sharma.
Through media reports.
No, you have not said through media reports. You have said government.
I'm clearing it now through media reports.
Okay. Now, what I am concerned that it is not easy thing. There are many laws in the country which will
Article 21. That is what has been
the
cited.
lawyer has referred the article and other
right
things.
to
And the
life.
constitutional provision is also there. You have to amend the constitution also about the rights of citizens.
Okay,
so
but there is another thing.
That cannot be forcefully enforced.
Exactly.
You can
and one court, I believe.
Yes, the question
My lawyer will
interest is upon the citizen.
The lawyer
issue.
There be a law.
Yes, carry on. I have to go for a break. Dujan Sharma, carry on.
At least
My lawyer present here, he will certainly clarify.
concept will go
I
that
don't
this kind
believe
of
that
child
without
norm
the
is
amendment
required
of
for the interest of the
constitution,
country.
you cannot go for such a thing for the whole country. It is
Okay,
not possible.
constitutional amendment.
It is not
Okay,
it is not possible. You have to
we will come
take
back.
away
We will come back to our core discussion.
You have
But
to-
at this point in time, I go for a short break. Stay on, don't go away. I'll be right back. welcome back. The question is, NRC is coming out, forget about the date when the final list is going to be published, but NRC is coming sooner than later. The final NRC will be declared one day order. But the question is, there will be a certain number of people who will not have their names. We have been discussing what are we going to do with that. Now, is it a more bigger question? Do you think, viewers, that stopping influx, stopping fresh infiltration, is it a bigger problem now? I'd like to take the opening remarks on this particular question. Prasenjit, would you like to start? Is checking fresh infiltration a real bigger issue? We have not been able to fence the border properly. One wave of flood was enough to wash away a stretch of the barbed wire fence in the Dhubri sector just the other day. What is going on? There has been promise of flood lighting on the border, just like the Pakistan border. Nothing has happened, and it has taken more than 30 years for us to fence the border. The riverine stretch still remains open. The boats can crisscross the two nations. It is extremely easy.
Yes. There also, one needs to have a proper Indo-Bangladesh joint mechanism. The adjacent areas of the border between India and Bangladesh need to be protected by both the countries. India cannot alone protect its border by putting up certain installations and certain mechanical devices, or by putting up armed security forces. What is rather needed is a confidence building measure with Bangladesh, so that people living in the border areas of Bangladesh and people who are trying to trespass from Bangladesh into India.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you, Prasenjit. And we are playing those file pictures on the screen. We have to admit one thing, that Bangladesh has been a traditional good neighbor of India, but the question is, the relationship had never been as good as it has been in the last maybe 5 to 6 years under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The relationship between the NDA government and the Awami League government under Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Now, why are we not able to leverage on these good relations? Do you think now is the time, when we have a solid majority in Parliament under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you have the Awami League government under Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh, and relations are good? Do you think this is the reason why we should leverage and resolve some of these problems? Or, I have a counter question. Do you think it is because of these good relations, India will not be taking up sensitive and ticklish issues with Dhaka?
No, there should be a matter of mutual consent and mutual agreement on issues that are to be discussed. Now, Bangladesh firmly says that there is no infiltration from Bangladesh side. So, the individual cases, isolated cases of infiltration has to be dealt with by using Bangladesh forces as well as by using Indian forces. And for that, a joint flag meeting mechanism, joint trans-border discussion, joint everyday vision have to be conducted. Why India government is not able to do this with Bangladesh government is a real question, apart from all other ticklish issues.
Right.
So the point is that Bangladesh government has to be made sensitive about its border villages and people coming into border villages to trespass into India. Unless India can develop that kind of a voluntary mechanism with Bangladesh government, infiltration cannot be stopped.
Now, I am playing the devil's advocate here. My question goes to Abhinav. Abhinav, you see, India has been having our neighborhood policy. Prime Minister Modi's policy is neighborhood first. And as we have seen during, this has been expanded this time during the swearing in, where we have seen, apart from the neighboring countries, we have seen leaders from the ASEAN as well coming in, and BIMSTEC as well coming in and attending the swearing in. That was a good demonstration of India's neighborhood first policy, and we have a little bit expanded on that. Now my question is, do you think that we have got a difficult relationship with Nepal because of the Chinese influence? We have China, we have a problem with Pakistan, Myanmar is heavily under the Chinese influence. Of course, we are also very, very strong in Myanmar. Yes, Bhutan has been our traditional ally. Therefore, Bangladesh is an important ally today because of the geopolitics around us. My question to you, Abhinav, do you think that because of this, India may not raise issues that are not so palatable to the domestic opinion in Bangladesh, that is like the issue of illegal migration. Now, if we have assumed, I'm coming to Abhijit Sharma also on this question, we assume that we have got 10 to 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs, whatever is the figure of declared as, suppose by the NRC as that they're non-Indians, most of them, we have to now then start with identifying the country of origin, assume that the country of origin is Bangladesh. Now India has to take up the matter with Bangladesh. My question is, do you think India will not really take up the matter with Bangladesh because it has the potential to disturb the apple cart?
I think you have rightly pointed out that larger geopolitical considerations would obviously act as a trade-off with regard to taking up the issue of immigration vis-a-vis Bangladesh. Now, at the same time, we'll also have to understand that unless Bangladesh accepts the fact that there are illegal migrants in Assam, even with the desire of the Narendra Modi-led government, nothing much can be done. And I think it's the imperative of domestic politics that no state would admit that a bulk load of around 40,000 individuals are there in some other country and they would be taking them back. So because that would again increase other kind of domestic pressures in their internal politics. At the same time, I think there's another question that we did not discuss, I think, properly, but Abhijit Sharma had raised, that he had mentioned that what we can do is that we can strip the people of their political rights and give them economic work permits. But I think, again, there is a moral dilemma to this entire process, because on one hand, you are curtailing or undermining political rights, and when you give them economic rights, what you are essentially trying to do is that you are trying to create an exploitative labor force and thereby institutionalizing a racial labor regime in the state. So I think that is also quite dangerous.
Burhan,
The solution
how do you
has to
look at it?
transcend that.
The dilemma before us today. Now, first of all, the country of origin has to be established, for which we need the cooperation, assuming that most of these people whose names will not be there, or for that matter, those who are declared by the court of law as a foreign national, assume that most of them are citizens of Bangladesh originally. Now, therefore, the country of origin has to be established, Bangladesh has to accept, and then only you can start the deportation process. My question is, how easy or difficult do you think that is going to be?
It's very, very difficult situation in the sense that you have already pointed out there is a process to it, process for deportation that has to be initiated at the political level, and until and unless that country of origin establishes or verifies the antecedent of that particular person or the number of person, whatever number is 10 lakh, 5 lakh, 20 lakh, that is immaterial, but that has to be verified by the country of origin. So in this case, Bangladesh, I am pretty sure that they will not accept this huge number, even if assuming that these are actual Bangladeshi people. Now, the question again, we are coming back to that main issue, whether India has now, as of now, we are in a situation that even if they are declared as foreigners, after that, what we can do? We have got very limited options, in the sense, if we show our big brother kind of attitude and enforce our will, through which, or political will, we say that, okay, you have to take it this way or that way, you have to take, we cannot bulldoze them, because the whole world is looking at us, and Bangladesh will also use various other ways. They may raise this issue before the United Nations, etc. So that is not a very simple situation.
So it's a tough road.
It's a very, very
Abhijit
tricky road.
Sharma, I would like to ask you a question. Like you see, you have been filing a plethora series of PILs with the Supreme Court on this overall issue, which is very, very important in the Assam context. But my question is, have you not ever thought about what are we going to do with these people? Why have you not moved the court or through which to direct the government as to the futuristic steps that needs to be taken? Because there are all the responsible Bangladeshi authorities who have been on my channel, on my show, have been claiming, I'm using the word claiming, I'm not saying that it is true, they're claiming that India had never ever discussed or taken up the issue of illegal Bangladeshi migration with them. Now, why have you not moved anyone on this issue? What are you going to do with these people?
Court, after the final NRC is published, court definitely will give some directions, first of all. Secondly, whatever the number comes out, you have to prove that they are from Bangladesh. Is there any proof? So whatever the number comes out, now Government of India have to prove that they are from Bangladesh. Now, how many people, when they came from Bangladesh, where they came, to whose place they came in Assam, when they came in Assam. No records are there in government of Assam and government of India. Secondly, those whose names are left out from NRC, their names are in the voter list. They have government documents, they have LICs, they are working in government departments. Many of them, the government
Might be in the security forces as well.
Yeah, so it is a never-ending process. You can discuss for it's a never-ending. Let me finish it. One more thing. So the serious thing is that Tarun Gogoi, he is saying that all those names are there in the 2019 voter list. They should be entered in the NRC. Okay, we can welcome that. Don't take it otherwise. But before that, you have to seal the border. There's not a single entry after
seal
that.
the border. But
But unless and until we seal the border, this is a never-ending
tough call.
problem.
Tough call. Is it a tough call now?
No, you see, Tarun Gogoi's name is mentioned by two of our panelists. Tarun Gogoi is saying that 67 voter list is the basis, and it is a continuous process from that voter list. And he is saying that 2014 voter list was prepared on the basis of 1967 voter list. That is why he is saying that whose names are in the 2014 voter list, their names should be included in the NRC. That was his stand. Now, this 2014 voter list, if it is a continuing from the 2000 voter list, then automatically 2019 voter list also valid for NRC.
So
let me finish. Let me first say the Tarun Gogoi issue. He is pleading that case only. So that is an issue. But in my opinion, this is a very big issue. And what Mr. Sharma has said, that sealing of border and press infiltration, that must be stopped.
Yeah. So now the question is,
taking the issue in retrospect.
How serious they are?
Yeah. One second. I have a point to raise.
How serious?
Very quickly. I have a point to raise.
Then Home Minister Sidambaram ordered to use rubber bullet in border.
Yes.
How serious they are, see.
All right.
What is the last 5 years, Sidambaram is not there. And Narendra Modi government, you have seen the statement of foreign ministers of Bangladesh 2-3 days back, that they said that there is no foreigners, no Bangladeshi infiltration in Assam or India. They are saying.
Yes, it's right.
I think rather than looking at the issue through party lines, the main problem is that from the time of the movement through the accord, we have always been dealing with the issue in retrospect. And the problem is that it is impossible to deport such a huge chunk of people. The approach has to be futuristic, like he has said. We'll have to institute technology to stop murdering.
The dimensions of the problem are like this, that there is a question of economic relationship with Bangladesh. There is a threat of China in Bangladesh and in our own neighborhood. And there is the importance of the issue vis-a-vis a problem of Assam or a national problem vis-a-vis the economic issues.
What is the point you are trying to make?
The point I am trying to make is that these things will come as we progress. Now the question is, there cannot be any non-citizens in the voters list, but at the same time these non-citizens have to be dealt with in such a way. And again, there is an issue which the Assamese people the local people would like, that there is a large amount of voters. There's an apprehension that their political existence will be is at threat. So that has to be issued. I think the issues will emerge as we progress along, and solutions will also come.
But don't you think that is leading to an ad hoc planning to the entire process?
That is what Abhinav said.
No,
that is what.
And the answer
That is leading to an ad hoc planning to the entire process.
No, let me clarify. No, the direct question to you. You are saying that we don't know what is the road ahead, and we move as we proceed. Is that what you are saying?
No, I am not saying that. See, the issue is that we have to dispose of these cases within a certain amount of time. So the government has gone on and set up 1,000 tribunals so that we can keep up the time limit of 3 hours.
No, that is,
then we are also thinking in terms of the determined.
On that point, may I say something? Because you just mentioned about the number of tribunals that will go up, say, for example, 1,000. Now 200 in the process of recruitment, 200. But what I am seeing is next step. After the tribunal, under Article 226, you have the right to go to High Court. But do we have the infrastructure in High Court to deal with those cases? We don't have judges. As simple as that. After tribunal level, there will be absolutely chaos. There will be absolutely chaos. Where is the number of people, lakhs of people will go to High Court, and we don't have judges in High Court.
At the same time, there will be jail.
Have you
The question
initial
is very simple.
taken up in a very high point?
This is
Absolutely
No,
chaos.
this is a problem which will come as a bulk problem.
No,
So
we
the
have
bulk
to
problem
think
is
about
that
it,
there
our
would be
future. We have
see
to-
there will
we have
not
to-
be unlimited
no,
cases.
viewers,
Even if there are
no,
cases,
let me
there
come
will
in,
be
let me come in,
one-
let me come in,
one title
let me come
case
in,
or one
let me come in,
signature
let
case
me
which
come,
will set the precedent for other cases.
let me come in. This NRC exercise has been 1500 plus crore project which has been going on for the last 4 to 5 years. It's a mega exercise never before done anywhere in the country. Now the issue is we have to be prepared for an exercise. You have to do some forward planning. Abhijit Sharma, now Burhan is saying that after the tribunals, okay fine, assume that 200 tribunals are in the process of being set up additionally now, and at some point of time there will be 800 more, and we have got 1000 more tribunals. Okay, after the tribunals, the matter under Article 226, under Article 226, you can move the courts, higher courts. Now, the High Court, suppose, have no less amount of judges. That's what he's saying. Now, don't you think that we need to prepare for an eventuality? Is there a plan needed? Abhijit, what do you think? Let him speak. Let him speak.
Let me just make it a point here. See, this will be certain principled arguments will be there or judgments will be there in the Foreigners Tribunal. Not all people who are disenfranchised or are declared non-citizens by the tribunals have to go to the court, because in the meantime there will already be precedent cases, and those precedent cases will already be bearing on the other judgments of the Foreigner Tribunals.
It all depends on the facts of the matter. Every facts are for every person, it has to be different. So there is absolutely no way that you can bar a person from going to High Court under Article 226.
No, he will
Everyone
come.
will go.
See, he
they
will
have got
come.
the right.
He will come, but the question of admission of that
Okay,
case,
we'll have to wait and watch. But the
it
point
will not be
is,
there.
no,
That is
we
what I'm
don't
saying.
know. There is no point in arguing on that. But
too early to discuss.
but it is prudent on the part of the authorities concerned to be prepared for an eventuality, isn't it? It might happen. So my question is simple. Don't you think that we need to get ready for such kind of an eventuality, Abhijit Sharma?
See, some directions definitely will come from the court. What to do next? And some preparation is already been done by government. Now you told me, and like 3 years is there. Is some of them say they can be kept for 3 years, but senior citizens will be out from the detention.
And government is building a detention center in
sector.
Gwalpara at a
And
cost of
secondly,
36 crore.
yeah.
But that has a capacity, it start with a capacity of 1500, it will go up to 3000.
Yeah.
So when we are talking about 10 lakhs,
lakhs.
20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, what is this 3000 capacity? Let me tell viewers.
let's see what the number comes. Wait for the number, what comes.
Total
number comes.
capacity, let me tell the viewers, and for the benefit of my panelists here on this show, the total capacity in all the jails in Assam taken together is 9,000.
Yeah.
At the moment, there are 12,000 inmates in the jails. So the occupancy now is 130%. And out of these 12,000 inmates in the jails, around 800 to 900 are actually detainees who are supposed to be illegal migrants. Since there are no detention centers, they are part of the jail system now. They are in jail. So this is the situation. Yes, Burhan, you were saying something.
May I say something on this detention center thing? Because you have just quoted about some number regarding the detention center, some few thousands here and there. But at the end of the day, we have to think beyond the detention center, because indefinite detention is also not permissible.
That's what the Supreme Court has made it very clear.
Yes. So indefinite detention is after a point of time you have to release them. So, but for that particular, the number is not important. Number of detention camp, a few thousands here and there is not important. You have to think beyond the detention center camp. So, on that point, government has to mull and.
So there are a lot of planning that is now. Prasenjit Biswas, I'd like to bring you into this debate. The line got disrupted for quite some time with you. You are back with us now. We have been discussing, Prasenjit, that of once how easy or difficult it is going to be. Don't you think that now is the time for India to make some forward planning and enter into some kind of an agreement with Bangladesh as to how to deal with this issue, how to send their citizens back, if at all?
One has to understand that detention center is no solution.
Yes.
If detention center has to be emphasized, the whole state has to be turned into a detention center. And this is going to be like Nazi concentration camp. We should not indulge into such a malpractice in a democracy like India. I strongly condemn the very idea of detention camp. We should have more creative, evolving ideas of how to tackle with illegal immigrants. We should not be turning Assam into a detention center.
Well, opponents
That's
can
number
always
one.
come up with
Number
suggestions
two, at the
to
stage
the
of
detention
admission
camp
of
idea.
foreigners tribunal, cases have to be not admitted. Such a proposition is totally against the legal rights of the people. People who have to have fair right to trial and redressal, their cases have to be admitted in both High Court, in Foreigners Tribunal. But the current amendment to the Foreigners Tribunal laws says that prima facie at limine a case can be decided not to be admitted. Such a position is totally ultra virus to the legal system that we have in this country. Therefore, we should not mix up things and try to find out a short-circuited solution. Rather, we should think in a long-term humanitarian perspective, and what should be that perspective? Instead of evolving such coercive mechanism, has to be thought about by the intellectuals, by the concerned thinkers, by people like Abhijit Sharma, who are fighting for some justice for the indigenous people of Assam against illegal immigrants. They have to think properly that coercing people is not the solution. And this is what I would like to emphasize. We should evolve humanitarian position instead of evolving coercive positions.
Dujan Sharma, your concluding remarks. I'm running short of time.
No, it is from the point of the humanitarian point.
Your final comments.
I think that Indian citizens should not be allowed to, should not be compelled to go for suicide, or they should not be harassed in the name of NRC. That is the comment, and I believe that Government of India should try to talk to Government of Bangladesh for a solution. What Prasenjit has suggested, that Government of India should take up the issue with Bangladesh government, because Bangladesh is vehemently opposing this. And for last 5 years, Government of India has not taken up the issue with Bangladesh government.
Okay. Okay. So these are the 2-3 points which Dujan Sharma of the Congress is saying. Abhijit Sharma, your concluding remarks.
Same thing.
What is the road ahead?
We should not be happy that thousands of detention camps are coming out. The detention camp is a temporary solution, but these problems will be solved seriously, and unless and until the border is sealed, and central government is the right authorities to seal the border. If Pakistan, India-Pakistan can be sealed, then why not India-Bangladesh? So if it is sealed, then I think that this problem will be solved.
Okay, it is easier said than done. We have been hearing for the last 30 years about the border sealing process. We have said some of the political leadership at some point of time that not even an ant can come inside from Bangladesh. These are comments also we have heard. We should not forget that. But yes, Abhijit Sharma is right. We have to prevent further infiltration. Burhan, your comments.
Yes, sealing of borders should be on a priority basis. That is one part that everyone is agreed upon. And as far as this process is concerned, after the process, what will happen, that we have to deliberate, and we have to think rationally, and on humanitarian ground also we have to think. And detention center, as I have already said, this is no answer in any because if you see worldwide, there is absolutely no country where there is indefinite detention. So only if we go by in India, there is a concept called, if you are declared as a foreigner, you will be languishing in detention center. That's what was happening till recent time. Under this Honorable Supreme Court has interfered and said that more than 3 years people who are languishing in detention center, they should be released. So what I am trying to say is that detention center is not an answer. We have to talk and take up this issue with the Bangladesh, and in a friendly manner we have to discuss and try out to find out a solution, and not by way of any coercion, but in a friendly manner, an amicable way.
Okay, Swapnil Barua, last word.
Well, no genuine Indian citizen should be left out of the NRC. The border has to be sealed by using latest technology. And thirdly, we don't want any non-citizen in the voters list.
Okay. Before I give Avinav the last word, Prasenjit, final comments.
Yeah. My comment is that humanitarian procedure has to be evolved. So far, legal procedure has remained constricted. It has not taken into account the pain and the woes of the people who are supposed to be stateless. No person can be stateless under international law. So we cannot reduce people to statelessness.
All right, all right. Avinav.
I think the first thing that we need to do is acknowledge the fact that deportation is simply not possible. And deportation, and all talk about deportation, is merely political rhetoric that we have been hearing since the last 40 years. The solution will have to be forward-looking in the sense that we'll have to stop further influx and use the NRC as a register for comparing any new inclusions or any new influx. And finally, I think I would agree with Prosenjit to say that with regard to the people who have been excluded, I think a human and accommodative solution needs to be found out, and steps must be taken to gradually assimilate and accommodate them within the existing Assamese society. That is the practical
All right,
solution.
I think we have now, at least there has been some agreement on the fact that fresh infiltration has to stop by any means. Sealing the border has to be actually executed on the ground. It should not be just rhetoric by political parties and political leaders. It has to be implemented. If we can secure borders with certain countries, we should also secure the border with Bangladesh and stop influx of fresh people. And as Avinav has said, the NRC, as and when it is finally published, can be a very, very good document to compare who are the people who are already in and whose nationality is beyond doubt, and who are the people who have freshly arrived. I think that is a very big purpose that the NRC will have to face. But yes, I agree with several panelists that there has to be a humane approach in dealing. At the end of the day, even a stateless citizen, even a foreign national or a stateless citizen have their rights. After all, at the end of the day, they are all human beings, and we are signatories, and we are a very big democracy, and we don't want any compromise on that. On this note, I end this edition of Northeast Tonight. Thank all my panelists for participating in this very, very engaging discussion. And yes, this is not the last word on the NRC or the illegal migration, and we will perhaps talk a lot more on this issue. On that, I end today. Good night and goodbye.